All right, welcome everyone, and we are so back. All right, now this is going to be an interesting video for a bunch of reasons. First off, I have changed my audio settings. I have heard the complaints, and I am going to be trying my best to redo these audio settings. So if this video is a mess, you're going to be seeing it again in the near future recorded. All right, now, before we get to the really exciting stuff, let's get to the boring stuff. Starting off with this guy, Garouza, the new Wotv character, the new Wotv story character. He's recently been introduced in the story. Mr. No-Nos, Mr. Grouchy, Mr. Who Gives a Fuck. He's in a boring element anyway. Wind guy, say hello to Garouza. Now, this is a new wind elemental character, so I know that some people are going to be excited about him, but honestly, he's a bit boring because, as we all know at this point, Wotv story characters are overpowered compared to a lot of other characters, and that basically means that I'm not going to really spend too much time talking about him this video. So getting into it, he is a wind elemental 100 cost character. We've heard this 1,000 times before at this point. You know, the 100 cost story character. He is a permanent addition to the pool. We are looking at, it looks like our general fist-based warrior group that we've been seeing a lot, and the new Dragoon class, or newer Dragoon class, for the Water Dragoon from the Hindra Nation, if I am remembering correctly. Can't really remember his name, but it's okay. You already know who I'm talking about. This guy, basically, it's a newer Dragoon-based job, so he's going to have spear attacks, and he's going to have some strike attacks, and, of course, his main job is a katana-based class, which is what is really important here. Looking at his Limit Burst cancels the effect of reducing physical damage taken by targets within range, deals extra damage large after reducing wind resistance for 3 turns, and a chance of preventing actions other than movement. So we're looking at a disable style effect on his Limit Burst, extra large damage, wind reduction down, and you know, he is going to be a surely good DPS at this point. And wind-based damage attacks, which is basically what you would expect on a AoE cross style, and you know, it has some good range on it. So all of these things, net pluses. Taking a look at his next one, Mysterious Technique ability destroys barriers that reduce physical damage and significantly increases debuff resistant rates of targets within range, deals large damage after deals extra large damage, sure hit, and reduces reaction blocking rate and healing power for 3 turns, creates a barrier that reduces damage for self. So it's an ability, it's this, you know, Astria style cross-based attack, is another AoE attack. So basically, I mean, we got the idea that this guy is going to be an AoE damage dealer. He is very good at also removing effects that prevent him from dealing damage. And he's a good for just the wind element in general, of removing wind resistance, of causing a status effect, which we'll be curious to see how good it actually is on whether or not his faith is high enough to make it a sure thing. But at the very least, it's interesting. And yeah, just removing barriers as well as creating a barrier. That's kind of fun, just because it will, you know, it's almost like a thief style ability. Now, our last ability that we have on preview, this one, and just excuse me, I don't actually have notes for this because this is not the thing I'm really excited about, grants the effect of reducing physical damage taken for allies centered around the user for 4 turns, so he has an aura style effect, allows the user to survive once even if receiving fatal damage, recovers AP, grants the additional effect of increasing resistance to single target attacks, and reducing AP consumption while under the effect of that surviving a fatal damage, grants the effect of sealing barrier destruction for 3 turns. So I mean, this looks like just an absolutely solid unit. I mean, it's the story of Wotv story-based characters this entire year, that they are very, very powerful, very strong. He's being put into a combined pair of elements that'll be good for him. You know, he's good with strong wind units, which the game has plenty of right now, and fire units, which, yeah, the game has plenty of those too. Even a kind of katana user, this guy is probably going to be good with. Either way, I think that this unit is absolutely solid. He's in the group that you essentially think. He'll have all the usual bells and whistles of a Wotv unit coming out. And of course, he will have a new piece of equipment to support his going forward standard. I expect this character to be absolutely great and terribly, terribly boring. That's right, I said it. He's going to be boring because we already know the story of this. It is as it is. So that is done. Now let's get to the exciting good part of the video. And we're back. All right, so this is the part that I think that everybody has essentially been looking for. No, not a story update, whatever, that's spoilers. No, not a new guild battle map. Guild battle is for rich people. Well, I'm talking about this, the return of Final Fantasy Tactics, which is something that everybody and their dog has been waiting for. And I know what you're saying already. Umbra, I've waited so long in this video. Why should I care about this? I've left the game. I don't care anymore. I've disappeared from the planet and all that shit. Well, the good news for you, fellow viewer, is that actually there is some stuff to be excited about this, because not only is Tactics coming back, not only do we not have to worry about new units or new voices or anything like that, all of that stuff has been thrown out. But the focus for this collaboration returning is that we are going to get a lot of improvements and reworks to characters that already exist. And what do I mean by that? Well, here you can see that all of the old characters and old vision cards will be returning, which is great because some people I'm sure would love to get their hands on the red chocobo again, maybe just for completion's sake. But take a look at this. All of these are Ramza's changes, not improvements, but actual changes to the way his abilities work. So if you know, looking at comments from previous videos about what people are actually looking for, reworks to old units, this is it. This is what people have been asking for. And I would require that while I'm not saying that this is going to fix the game or rebalance the game in any way, shape, or form, give credit where credit is due. This is something that a lot of us, myself, have been kind of looking for in some form, and it's nice to actually see it. So taking a look, create 3 consecutive attacks, removes the target's raise and reduces the target's slashing attack resistance for 3 turns, then deals 3 consecutive damage, large, in a square base pattern now as opposed to a cross, and the number of attacks is up from 3 to 4. That's a hell of a rework for an actual ability. Right? Just talking about what could possibly go to improve these units a long way. Well, I mean, first off, the fact that the ability is called 3 hits is obviously a misnomer. Obviously, we need to change that to quad hit now. But this is a lot of improvements just on one ability. Double Break removes all buffs from the target, deals extra large damage in a square base pattern. Ale Saint, the EX job ability, when HP falls below 50%, recover a certain percentage of HP medium one time. Brilliant Sword has been improved to increase own area attack resistance penetration for 3 turns, and also deals large damage after lowering defense and mental level resistance. And the last ability on here, which is not the right name for it, but Shout, I believe is what it is. For 4 turns now, it does its buffs, also increases defense and brave. The defense part is new, brave is not, and have a protect effect that reduces physical damage when HP falls below 60% when damaged. Increase CT 1 time and recover AP. I'm sure it's not going to fix Ramza. I'm sure it's not going to make him a tier 0 character. But this is a lot of stuff to go to make these characters actually usable and fun again. And I would say even, you know, this is hopefully a indication of something that will be happening into the 5th year for older characters. It's a lot of work, but it's actually worth it. And if it's a trade-off for, you know, voices and newer characters, I mean, this is low cost for anybody who has these characters already to use and enjoy them again. But that's not all. Basically, every character is going to be looking at a rework. So the Sword Saint job, Holy Light Explosion, will deal large damage after reducing lightning resistance of enemies for 3 turns. Underworld Scream now reduces attack and healing power. Dark Sword, after reducing the target's single attack resistance, also recovers own AP when an enemy is incapacitated, and its AP cost is lower now, down to 14. God of Thunder, hit rate increases, slashing attack resistance, penetration rate, grants the effect of reducing damage taken wider. The attack range mitigates decrease in the resistance to all attack types, which is pretty good. Looking at the next one, destroys barriers now on Unrivaled Lightning Thrust, an EX job improvement. So destroys a barrier that reduces physical damage and does all the stuff it did before. Also nullifies CT up for 3 turns, has a higher range both in terms of front and also height too. And then Black Lion Crest survives once even when the user takes fatal damage. Grants the effect of absorbing part of the HP dealt. Grants the effect of canceling effects of reducing damage taken the wider the attack is. So that is just on that ability. There's a lot of stuff to like there. Moving on. Holy Knight now grants the regeneration Princess's Royal Guard. Now lasts for 4 turns, makes the user more likely to be targeted by enemies. Hate generation, awesome. Recovers a percentage when HP falls below 50%. Significantly increases all attribute resistance and debuff resistance for all allies within range. Centered around herself in a diamond pattern for 4 turns. Nullifies stuns. Grants shell effect that reduces damage. And yes, the music is gone. Don't worry, it'll be back in a second. Also, range height difference improved for 4 turns. Nullifies stuns. Grants a shell effect that reduces magic damage and can be used 1 extra time. Next ability, Chivalry, just increases attack power and physical damage. Immovable Kai ability, after removing re-raise from targets within range. This is the new part. Defense penetration rate and mental penetration rate are reduced for 3 turns. Height difference has also been improved on this, as well as range. And Knight's Faith, increase up HP upper limit to the already existing speed, spirit, hate, and decrease of AP consumption, while also the further the distance, the greater the damage reduced by effect up to 6, and will be more likely that the target will activate stop if regen is active. So regen actually being active means that her stop status effect actually has a higher chance now. Pretty good. Delita, a voice or a name that has been kind of banned from my Twitch chat. First off, large damage on his random life-cutting knife, which is a kill ability, which not the English version, but whatever. Increased chance of death sentence activation, range of 4. Ice Wolf Break deals large damage, greatly reduces AP, and range of 4. Meditation greatly increases own attack, magic, and debuff resistance for 4 turns. Move +1. Which is a pretty big improvement. I mean, speed, sure, always, but move as well, not bad. Ice Wolf Break, his EX ability, damage large, but also removes Protect and Guts now from the target, as well as Raise, interestingly enough. Sword of Causation improved, removes all buffs from the target, and has been increased to a square base pattern. And AP acquisition up 2, which increased AP limit, hit rate, and slash attack resistance penetration. Now also recovers HP when his HP falls below 50% 1 time. And Machinist as well as the Dark Knight have also been improved for both Delita as well as Mustadio. Don't know why that name escaped me for a second. Taking a look there, we're looking at some more minor improvements, but better status effects for Mustadio seem to be a thing, as well as surviving a fatal attack received when HP is over 90%, and significantly lowering evasion rate, as well as increasing defense penetration rate seem to be on the docket for him. Taking a look at the Dark Knight, our last one on here, Dark Sword reduces single attack resistance now, and recovers own AP when when a unit is killed. Guaranteed hit on some of his ability, and the more targets there are, the more powerful his evil blade is. Gain resistance to frostbite, paralysis, and stun. So some more minor improvements, but given that they are lower costed units, I'm sure that there could be a case for these guys finding their own way into certain parties. So yes, the collaboration will be starting October 1st for Final Fantasy Tactics, and as you can see, there will be some events to get the resources to improve these characters. There will be campaigns to help people build these characters if you haven't already. And that's not all, dear viewer. We are also looking at the improvement to the weapons and equipment from Final Fantasy Tactics 2. For instance, Final Fantasy Tactics exclusive additional ability of single target resistance of 15. Start of turn 1, move +1. We're looking at Ragnarok, Orlando's exclusive ability. Here, increased defense penetration rate, debuff resistance rate, and speed. And from there, just more and more abilities that have been improved and increased to just do a bunch of different things, such as, human killer on some ability, CT down isn't valid. All of these things that are just going to be big improvements for these characters. There's so many things to cover that we have spent just a massive amount of time in this video on everything. But I think it is totally worth recognizing when a serious amount of effort has been put into these characters and improving them. And it'll be nice for the Tactics characters to come back. It'll be neat to see whether they will be super competitive in just, an old unit sense. And if they can push that way, that's fantastic. Super like it. And there you go. So, older units, be damned. We're going to see how big of an improvement they get once they are out and all of the data is in the game. But it's a pretty exciting way to start off the month of October as we continue our climb to the 5th anniversary. Not a ton, but it is a heartbeat. It is a little bit of excitement. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully the audio in this is not shit, and see you later.